A diver drops into shallow Bahamian water, and the seafloor starts playing tricks. Below him lies a line of massive limestone blocks, squared in places, fitted in others, with a hooked end that looks almost deliberate. In a setting already loaded with Atlantis lore, that is nearly enough. The stones are real. The geometry is real. Everything after that is interpretation. Long before television found the site, Edgar Cayce had already written Bimini into myth. In 1926, he called it the highest portion left above the waves of a lost continent. In a 1940 reading, he said Posidia would be among the first parts of Atlantis to rise again, expected in 68 and 69. His material also mentioned a Bimini well ringed with carved stone and odd symbols. By then, Bimini was a place where proof was expected to surface. Then, in 1968, something did. Off North Bimini, divers found a broad underwater formation that looked uncannily arranged, a paved line of blocks in about 15 feet of water. The timing felt prophetic. Atlantologists surged in, followed by cameras. Archaeologist Luis Chanlat Baik later noted how quickly the story drew figures like Dmitry Rebekov, Jacques Cousteau, and Alan Landsberg of In Search Of. The site was made for television. From above, it suggested architecture. On film, it suggested destiny. Scientists tried to slow that momentum. In 1971, W. Harrison argued in Nature that the supposed ruins were an originally coherent formation of coquina limestone, not prehistoric masonry. Even the nearby marble and cement cylinders, he said, had been pushed into stories the evidence could not bear. The problem was whether Bahamian geology could manufacture exactly that effect. Geologist Eugene Shin treated Bimini as a forensic test. If people had moved the blocks, their internal bedding should point in different directions. If they formed where they lay, that structure should remain consistent. In the mid-1970s, he and his colleagues cored the stones. The atmosphere around them was already a fog of belief. Peter Tompkins arrived with a National Enquirer writer, a California astrologer named Leon, and stories of two diviners who had flown over the area with plumb bobs after tracing hot spots on nautical charts. When the team anchored, nearby boaters swam over, asking whether they could feel the force field. What the cores suggested was less romantic and more durable. The blocks matched Beachrock, limestone formed in the intertidal zone and later submerged as sea level changed. Shin pointed out that modern Bimini Beachrock already contained embedded Coke and beer bottles. The University of Miami radiocarbon study in 1979, under the heading Bimini Atlantis series, dated samples from blocks at -4.6 meters, near 26 degrees north and 77 degrees 30 minutes west. Whole rock ages clustered around 2,780, 3,350, and 3,500 years before present. Shell fragments were older than some of the cement binding them. To geologists, that is what beach rock should look like. Older pieces locked together by younger carbonate glue. That dating did not end the argument. It split the audience. Skeptics saw a familiar coastal process. Believers saw ambiguity, and ambiguity is enough to keep Atlantis alive for another generation. Chanlat Baik made the archaeological point bluntly. For all the stories of artifacts, he had never seen a photographed Atlantean pottery shard, or even a prehistoric one, from the road. The aftermath is why Bimini still matters. Cayce organizations kept searching nearby waters, and the Gulf Stream edge for terraces, mounds, and a hall of records. Television kept preferring aura to stratigraphy. Shin later described a program showing a supposed power crystal repelling a magnet, while an electromagnet sat hidden under a black cloth. That is the whole site in miniature. The stones are real. The aura is manufactured. The aura travels farther. And Bimini is not alone. Around the Bahamas and Caribbean, other underwater walls have turned out to be turtle krails, cave formations, or coastal rocks shaped into persuasive geometry. The sea is very good at making ruins for people who arrive wanting ruins. That is why the Bimini Road endures. Not as Atlantis proved, but as a record of how prophecy, media, and geological mystery can harden together into legend. Some places are discovered twice, first in stone, then in imagination. Bimini was both. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness? Because yesterday was crazy too.